What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone's been popping off. Today I decided I'm just gonna throw together a quick TBR video, to be read, just so you guys can kind of get an idea of, I don't know, what's to come, I guess, in the future, and also so I can kind of get a better idea of what I want to read next, because yeah, I'm almost halfway through Words of Radiance now, and yeah, Rhythm of War comes out as the 4th book of the Stormlight Archives later this year, and I'll definitely be caught up with the Cosmere by then. But there's a couple other things I definitely want to finish up reading before then. Yeah, and I don't know, just so you guys can see the next series that I plan on reading after that. So this list isn't really going to be in any particular order at all. Some of these things are definitely towards the end of the list. So yeah, first up, I already mentioned, is just to finish up the Cosmere. There's a couple more short stories left, and then Oathbringer. Oh yeah, and the 2 Max and Wayne books that I have left. But those I'll finish up pretty quickly. So there's that I'm really looking forward to. I already know that's going to be good. Next up on the list, I don't know if anyone saw my first channel intro video, the list that I had on there. But yeah, I'm actually halfway through the first book of The Wheel of Time. And I really liked it. To me, it just feels like Lord of the Rings, but a little more fleshed out. I haven't read The Lord of the Rings, but just saying, that's also on the list. But I am actually looking forward to finishing up reading that once I'm caught up with the Cosmere. That'll be my next series I tackle. I was kind of reading that alongside Mistborn, and then I just got hooked into the Cosmere. I can read one series and then other books as well, but it's hard to split 2 huge series like that for me. Okay, next up on the list, I still got to go back and do the reviews for Patrick Rothfuss, The Name of the Wind, or just all the Kingkiller Chronicle stuff. But let me show you. It's called The Slow Regard of Silent Things, and yeah, by Patrick Rothfuss. I still gotta finish this up. It's pretty small though, so I could finish it in one reading for sure. There's some pictures in here too, even. As I started to read this, I saw he has other short stories that I think are just online. So whenever I get to this, I'll be finishing those up too. Blast it all out. And yeah, I'm planning on probably doing reviews or summaries or something of all of this stuff. Yeah, next up on the list, finally something different that wasn't on my list from before. It's the Book of the Ancestors series. I heard good things about this, and I know you're not supposed to judge a book by the cover, but that was kind of the main selling point for me for wanting to read it. It's just, I don't know, the artwork looks so good. I'll post some pictures on here. To me, it just reminds me of something from Magic the Gathering. And yeah, I really don't know anything about it, but I am looking forward to reading those. I don't think they're too huge of books either, so I could probably finish those up pretty quickly. I think that's a trilogy there. And then he has another trilogy he just started, but it's in the same universe or something. I don't know, I might be mistaken on that. But if I read the first series and I like it, I'll definitely be reading the next. Next up is The Lies of Locke Lamora. This series, after I finished The Name of the Wind, I was like, dang, I really wish, I want another story like that that's fast-paced and it's got thieves and stuff. And this is what I've seen recommended the most. Seems the best out of all the others that I've seen. Apparently it's got a good romance, friendship in it as well, so it sounds interesting. And I think there's not so much magic in it also. After I'm caught up with the Cosmere, that'll be a nice switch up. I actually just looked it up and noticed that that's just the first book of the series. It's the Gentleman Bastard series by Scott Lynch. Next is The First Law. I think it's called The First Law series by Joe Abercrombie. This one's apparently really grim, dark, and gritty. But I've heard tons of good things about it everywhere. And I also like the artwork for it. I don't know. I don't know if it's comparable to Game of Thrones, because I know that's considered grim, dark. I don't know, for me, I actually have the whole Game of Thrones series, or Song of Ice and Fire. But I don't know, after the TV show, I kind of lost all motivation to read. It's so hard, for any story for me to see a movie or TV show and then to read the book. Yeah, I just can't do it because I just imagine the movie or TV show the entire time I'm reading, and it's just hard for me to get immersed. There's some exceptions. Like I said, The Lord of the Rings is on the list, but still it's kind of the motivation is not the same. The Lord of the Rings is at the end of the list. But this series I haven't, I don't know anything about, and I am excited to read it. The only negative thing I've seen about the First Law series so far is just that there's a lot of exclamations in it, I guess. A lot of oofs and ahs and people screaming. A lot of people compare it to Batman for some reason. I think it's just kind of as a joke, though. I don't know. To me, though, I don't really care about that. That just seems kind of nitpicky. If the story's good, I can get into it. All right, moving on. Yeah, Lord of the Rings. It's something I've always wanted to read. And yeah, maybe if I never saw the movies, I would want to read it sooner, but still, it's like the main classic fantasy series. I gotta read it one day. I'll get to it eventually, but it's definitely at the end of the list. And alright, these last two books are a little bit different. I think they're considered sci-fi. I've got this one here, Ubik, by Philip K. Dick. And this one I got a while ago. I had some friends that read it and recommended it to me. And it sounded pretty interesting, and I know it's got good reviews and stuff. And I never got around to reading it. And now that I've been reading a ton, this is like nothing now. So I'll probably sit down and read this in a sitting at some point. It's like barely over 200 pages. Not even that fine print. So yeah, kind of looking forward to a change up with all this fantasy stuff on the list. This will be interesting. I know he's got a lot of other good stuff too. So after reading this, maybe I'll check out some of those. This next one, you guys are going to be like, what the hell? How have you not read this yet? But 1984 by George Orwell. Yeah, I actually never read it, and I've always wanted to. Everyone told me that was like the best book they read in high school. Usually it's mandatory, but for me, like my high school was kind of weird. For freshman year, I ended up reading Romeo and Juliet 3 times. Because I switched high schools like halfway through the... You don't even have semesters in high school, I think, or where I went, but halfway through the semester, I switched schools. But at the first school, like I was with, I think the teachers alternated which quarter they were reading books. So the first teacher I had, it was Romeo and Juliet, and then I ended up switching teachers, and it was Romeo and Juliet again. And then I moved schools, and then they were just starting Romeo and Juliet. And I actually like Romeo and Juliet, and the old movie also, and the new movie. I was bummed I missed out on 1984. I've of course heard like so many references to it my entire life. I'm definitely looking forward to read that. This last one, I was just looking through the books I've had, and I've actually had this for so long, and I've just been using it to like prop up my monitor. But it's the Odyssey, actually. We read some of it in high school, and I really liked it because it was like kind of the closest thing to fantasy besides Beowulf that we had to read in school. And honestly, I don't really know what the whole story is about, so I might give this a try. I don't know, I don't really hear that many people talk about this anymore. I know it's like a classic though. So we'll see. This is also kind of towards the end of the list. I would prefer to read more newer stuff, and then this stuff I'll get to eventually. It's weird how the layout of the pages are. It's written like a poem or something, or like in verses. But yeah, that's all I've got for now. This is going to be a quick video. Just wanted to kind of get this out there and say what's up. I think I'm going to do a Mistborn review next, but it may take me a little bit of time. I'm going to go back, kind of skim through some things, take some notes, make sure I got everything right. That'll probably be my next review. Yeah, this list is always going to be changing. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get to all of it or finish all of it up. Right now, my reading schedule has been kind of slowing down. Like I was reading a ton in the beginning, and now I'm getting a little bit of, not burnt out, but I'm just pacing myself. I read just before I go to bed for like an hour or two until I fall asleep. Well, especially with the book like Words of Radiance or The Way of Kings, just so dense and it's so huge. I like to take my time with it. But yeah, whenever I get to like a really exciting part, I'll usually read a lot then. Or as soon as I get kind of towards the end of the book, I'll just finish it out. So I'll be done with it pretty soon. And then once I start getting to these shorter books, I'll just sit through and I can read those in a sitting. All right, guys, I'm gonna bounce out. Take it easy. Later.